Live formatting is done on a live index, so the first thing you need to do is view the index you want to edit. To open the formatting sidebar, click on the link in the Wordpress admin bar. To close the sidebar, click on the Close link. There are two sections on the formatting sidebar. The top section, Live Formatting, allows you to adjust the styling of individual elements on an index. The bottom section allows you to preview your index using different index styles. Let's look at the style preview first. You can see that a list of all the available styles is shown. If the list doesn't fit on your screen, you can use the arrowhead at the bottom of the list to scroll more styles into view. As you run your mouse over each style name, a pop-up showing a basic preview and a description of the style is shown. To preview a style, click on it. EasyIndex will then reload your index and apply that style. This is just a preview and it won't be permanent unless you click the Set Style button. To return to the original style, click Reset Style. The other section of the formatting sidebar lets you change the styling on individual elements of an index. You'll see a list of elements that are in the current style, and as you run your mouse over each, EasyIndex will highlight the first visible occurrence of that element. The dotted blue lines define the element box, and the element itself is also shaded blue. Margins and padding, if there are any, are also shown, with the margins shaded orange and the padding shaded green. The elements in the lists are arranged hierarchically, with each element indented from its containing box. Some styling, like border and backgrounds, you'll want to apply to a container, and some styling, like fonts and text colour, you'll apply to individual elements. To change an element's styling, click on the element name in the list. A pop-up with all the styling options for that element opens, and you can change almost any CSS property for the element. Actually, it changes the styling for all elements of the same type in the index. You'll see the effect immediately on the screen as you make changes. You can cancel the changes you make in a pop-up, and even if you make changes and accept them on the pop-up, no permanent change is made to the index until you click Save. So you can play around with the styling without making the changes permanent until you have it just the way you want it. You can also click the Reset All link to clear all live formatting styles and reset the index to its defaults. So let's make a few changes to see the sorts of things that can be done. First, I'll change the term name. EasyIndex has a number of standard browser fonts, and these fonts will work in all modern browsers without having to load a font file. There are also almost 700 other fonts that can be loaded from Google Fonts. If you choose one of these, EasyIndex will load the font file automatically. So let's select one of the Google fonts. EasyIndex just then loaded that font file and applied the font to the heading. Loading a Google font will usually not add significantly to your page load time because it will get loaded in parallel with other stuff on your page. Let's pick this font for our headings. Now that looks a little too squished to me, so let's space it out a bit. EasyIndex lets you change numeric values with these arrow buttons, or you can type in a value by clicking in the field. Some CSS properties can take a number or a text value. You can select text values from the drop-down or type them in. You'll also see a Clear option on these kind of fields. That removes any explicit setting you've previously entered for the field. Setting this to 5 seems about right. You can select colours by either entering the colour value in the field or using the colour select box and sliders. The box with the X on it up here removes any explicit colour you've set, and the element will use the default colour defined by your theme. You can also change the transparency of the element using this slider. This is handy if you want your text to be positioned over an image, for example. But what we're going to do is use text shadow to make this text a bit different. First, I'll set the text color to be the same as the background, white in this case. Then I'll add some text shadow. Okay, that looks nice. Let's put a border around it. Because the term name link is a text element, it can't have a border, at least not normally. So what we'll do is add a border to its containing box. That looks a bit overpowering, so let's make the box a bit narrower. That looks about right, but it needs to be centered. On some CSS properties, like margin and padding, you can change all the related properties at once. So changing the top margin, for example, would change the top, right, bottom, and left margins all at the same time. To make our box centered, we just want to change the left and right margins. To do that, we'll use the auto setting, which automatically centers the element inside its containing box. That's not bad, but we need a little more space under the text, so let's adjust the bottom padding. Now let's soften the corners a bit. That looks pretty good, so we'll accept that. Now let's add some styling to each of the index items. We'll add a border, and a bit of padding. Adding the padding has reduced the amount of space available for the image, and it's shrunk to fit. So I'll make the item wider to allow for the extra padding, and soften the border with rounded corners. We'll round the image corners as well to match. One trick with the border radius of an image is to make the radius half the image width, and you'll get a circle, or an oval if your image isn't square. You can also make other shapes by adjusting each corner's radius individually. But for now, we'll just round the corners slightly and add some shadow to lift it a little. The post titles seem a bit overpowering now, so let's make those a little less prominent. And reduce the line spacing to match. Finally, we'll give the title a little extra height so we don't cut off the bottom line. One last thing we might want to do is fix the height of the items so that they are all the same. To make the changes permanent, click Save. Now, when we reload the page, all our custom formatting gets applied.